Hello everyone, my name is Miller and welcome back to another season video, the bi-weekly series where I go more in depth on what can be expected for the coming 2 weeks, what cars are up for grabs and some of the latest news in the community, with this time also a small word on the next update as we are creeping closer and closer to the 4th anniversary of the game and the oh so popular 4th of July. Also this season I have quite a lot planned, with also an in-depth video on how I make these kind of videos for aspiring YouTubers out there regarding CSR2 racing content. But to start off the claiming of the milestone car of the previous season, to where I received this special Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy edition. You get it? Invisible car? Getting inside, I'm talking about this beauty, the McLaren 600 LT Spider, which is one of the faster milestone cars we've had in some time. Some people might scream again, oh it's a reskin, but I think this is a nice addition to my collection to where I can put the original, in this case the coupe, next to the slightly different version, the Spider. What makes this car so amazing to me honestly is the roof animation. I just could keep looking at it all the time, just because of how detailed and how smooth it is. In case you do not like this color or you were not fortunate enough to win it, no worries, from next season on there will be a total of 6 specs pullable from the crates. But expect that number to go up in the future, as there are plenty more colors and rims available. So I do 100% expect a future duality or golden cup for this car, which will then come with a 20 times drop rate on the gold crates. As for performance, this will most likely break into the high 7.5s, but what makes it better is that it shares stage 6 parts with the coupe version, which some of us might already have parts for. So be sure to hang onto this car, and if you're a newer player this is a great car to run online with, as it's a dyno killer and it can also help you out with the Tempest series. On to season 105, where the season prize is one I think many will like. The BMW M4 GTS with the Varys body kit, and in my opinion the most badass BMW we have in game, more badass than the i8 Liberty Walk. With this car we see a second Varys body kit making its appearance in the game, alongside with tier 3 Civic Beast. There are loads of things and bits to talk about this version of the car with the Japanese body kit, but I will keep that for the more in-depth Season Max video roughly next week. But one of my favorite bits is definitely the purple exhaust tips, just making the car complete. As for colors, the season prize car comes in Estoril Blue, with the milestone spec for the cruise reaching 20 million crew RP coming in Alpine White, though I'm not sure if it will come with the stickers. On the milestone screens it looks like it will have the stickers, but the version that I received from Natural Motion didn't have any on them. As for performance, I've had only a dyno so far from my last update video. I haven't had any time to test it or to run it yet, but the dyno was not so promising, being only marginally faster compared to the more stock M4 GTS, as it seems to be hitting roughly an 11.779 range. Of course runs can slightly vary, but I doubt it will be a big change. The prestige car then is the Lotus Evora GT 430, and something which is quite special about this season, the prestige car is faster than a milestone car. This has only happened 3 times so far if I recall correctly, being season 12 with the 599 GTO and the Aventador SV, season 47 with the GT3R and tier 5 and a tier 4 milestone car, and then season 48 which was with the BAC Mono. So this is something rather rare really. The Evora is a wonderful tier 4 car with rather common fusion parts and a record of a 10.406, cementing itself in the top range of pullable Gold Star tier 4 cars, and plenty might already have it as it was a season prize / milestone car only 14 seasons ago, which is not crazy too long ago. In case you don't have it, no panic. Tomorrow starts a 10 times drop rate on the silver crates, where you can win a big variety of specs, to where even the batching of the color on the end plates of the spoiler changes. And also for the newer players out there, it can beat the Tempest 3 series with 2 or 3 stage 6 parts, so for newer players definitely worth the grab. For more details on it and going more in depth with some nice fun facts about it, with some great AR shots, again next week Season Max video. The events then, with the most obvious one being the New York Duality Cup we can see on the map and will start tomorrow. And I believe this event will either be the Made in America event for this year, or will be a small part of it, aka the start. And I think the biggest hint to that is the big American flag on the background, with only American muscle being allowed to be used, and the 4th of July literally being around the corner. But if it were to be the Made in America event, why not name it that way, like the trend name we've been using for 3 years now, and why just name it New York? Or are they gonna be doing something with the series based around states, like the biggest ones? Then I think of New York because of the city track, and then we have West Coast with Santa Palma or maybe Miami. What about Texas with the desert race then? Well, I don't know, and to be honest, I'm definitely curious, and perhaps if we're talking about states, the new track might come along its way. For this event, which I believe will be the start of this series, it will be a Duality Cup, where you have to lock in a car which we've had in the game for quite some time now, being the Quintin Brothers Camaro, and the second car being a new one, the Garrett's Rod Shop Barracuda Hemi-s. And this thing is out of its world when it comes to custom cars. I don't think I've ever seen so much red in a single interior of a car, and I love the fact that it has no windows when it's sitting in the garage and on some tracks. I'm not sure though what happens when it's on a rainy track, if they might close. Quite curious to see that as well. As for rewards, the event is rather generous, which is a plus for me, and as for performance of the cars, the Camaro can run a 7.597 and the Cuda is capable of running a 7.4, potentially a 7.3, so it's a beast of a car. And the lock-in order is not fixed, so you can swap around depending on which car you own. The drop rate with 7 pulls loyalty for each car should start tomorrow alongside with some crates, so good luck to everyone. Other than that, for this update there aren't any events planned as we seem to be running a bit dry. We will have the showdown which also launched today, where the fastest car will most likely be the Vantage V8 on Elite level 50. And then the next championship showdown next week, potentially having the 600 LT Spider as the fastest car if we follow the Apex car list on Tumblr, unless they put us up with another plot twist. I've heard many complaints about Apex cars being listed and then having another car being a lot faster. Think about the Silhouette Liberty Walk and the Regera, and now the DBX with the M5 competition that ended today. For future updates, please avoid listing Apex cars again, as it might deceive people and cause unnecessary issues. But for the rest, it will be rather silent, which to me makes no sense really, because right now, with the anniversary of the game being the 4th one, and also the 4th of July being around the corner, we should be feasting in events and free cars. But it might still happen, because an update might be coming soon. With the issues 2.12 experienced, the update might have gotten some delays, and therefore the reason why we didn't see anything yet on their 4th anniversary, which is quite big. Of course, for this update we still have one season car left, being the Audi RS6 Avant, and one new prestige car left, being the MX-5 with the Rocket Bunny kit, so technically it could go on for 2 to 3 weeks without an update. But I don't think they will just leave behind their 4th anniversary and the biggest event of the year, made in America. The final subject I want to talk about today is something very interesting I saw on Facebook, and the full credit here goes to Simon Kenny, who based on the first Legends series, made a pretty sweet second collection. I don't think we will see any second Legends series at all, but I highly appreciate the time and ideas the guy came up with when it comes to creating this sheet, and you never know that at some point they introduce some of these cars in a different way, as some are pure gems, and aside of maybe some of them, I would love seeing them in the game at some point. So for tier 1 he suggested the Volkswagen Beetle, and I think this is the perfect car in this tier. It's not really fast and super iconic, and imagine the elite customs opportunities on that car where you can make your own Herbie. In tier 2 he seems to go full blown Japanese, with the Subaru WRX STI, the Skyline 2000 GTR, which is one of my favorite classic cars, and the Toyota 2000 GT. In tier 3 he chose to go for the OG Camaro, the Ford Falcon GTH-O Phase 3, and the Holden Monaro GTS 350. I have to say though, the owner of this post, or the creator, is Australian, so that's maybe why he put the Holden in there. Here I would take out the Camaro and perhaps replace it by a classic Corvette Stingray, or what about a Jaguar E-Type. In tier 4 he suggested the M3 E30 Evo BMW, which is a beautiful car, the DMC DeLorean, which is also quite crazy, the Lotus Stratos, and the Audi Quattro. Here the DeLorean would perhaps be more of a tier 3 car idea, or we might throw some other cars in here like maybe the BMW M1, or would that be rather a tier 5 car? I don't know. In tier 5 then the Diablo SV, which I would put in tier 4 rather, and the Ferrari Testarossa, the Lamborghini Miura, and of course the E-Type. So for tier 5 it could use some tweaking, with perhaps some of the price cars ideas he showed. With for example the Mazda Furai for collecting all 14 cars, it's such a weird car I completely forgot about this one. The super iconic Mercedes-Benz CLK GTR for example for finishing the first Elite Customs collection, and then a Porsche 911 GT1 for the second Elite Customs collection. Again, this is fully fictional and I'm almost 100% sure it will not happen, but it's super creative and honestly a fun list to make. Let me know down below if you could add any car in tier 4 or tier 5. Maybe in the lower tiers, which cars you would maybe like to see at some point. I'm not saying they will, but it would just be a fun thing to think about. Let's start a discussion. Before closing off, a small overview of what is planned for the next few days from my end. Tomorrow a live stream and trying to pull to get the hemi-s and along the way pull some 5 stars which I don't need and having to hit the loyalty, like basically anytime. Followed up the day after with the duality cup itself. Then a video on how I make my own videos with some tips and tricks on how to grow your channel a bit. I get so many questions on this. A Season Max video including a stage 5 tune for the GT430. Followed up with a live stream for the Prestige Cup. And then a very special video next week Sunday, which I won't go into detail now, you'll see then. But hopefully I can make it all true, as I put myself quite a bar now. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, do not forget to leave a like, subscribe for more content like this. My name is Mille, see you around, and keep racing.